Welcome to another stock analysis video performed by MajesticTrader.com, where active traders see greater profits. So let's begin. Hi everybody, this is Ronald with MajesticTrader.com, giving you the weekly market analysis on the S&P and market leaders. And for those of you that have been watching us on a weekly basis, you're going to see some very interesting things on the charts that we're going to bring to you today. So basically, we are reviewing the charts as of November 18th for the week of November 21st going into Thanksgiving week, of which the markets are closed on Thursday and close early on Black Friday. So what do we see here on the charts? Well, Thursday and Friday had some of these big red candles here, and very interestingly enough, we drew this trend line probably 3 or 4 months ago, and this came from a trend line that was established that began on July 13, 2009. And you could see back in early October that we came down, we bounced off of it, and we came up here on Thursday, actually touched it and bounced off, and today it almost touched it again, and this is holding pretty good. We've been talking about for 2-3 weeks now the bottom of the range being 1227, the top of the range being 1300, and this M pattern here is actually pretty disturbing. And the reason why it's disturbing is typically with an M pattern, especially going into a supply resistance area here, typically means that the bottom of this M pattern means lower. And we had a target range of 1300 to 1325 before year end. Obviously, with a lot of the EU news that's been coming out, and this is what happened here Wednesday and Thursday, it's pulling our markets down. And there's really not much that we can do about it because we've actually had some pretty good economic data. Jobless claims yesterday was at 388,000, and we've been waiting for a really nice number below 400,000. And if we would have gotten that number probably a month, even 2 months ago, the market would have rallied 200-300 points, no problem on the Dow, maybe 30 to 40 to 50 points on the S&P. Well, because of all the EU issues, we're not getting anything close to that. Even with the good economic news that have come out, with leading indicators look good this week also. So what are we looking at here coming up? I think that we're going to get an up move next week for the holiday shopping season to begin. A lot of the fund managers and that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks like to push up and prop up their funds in the last 2 weeks of November because they want to get their bonuses, which are typically paid out on December 15th. So we could definitely look for an up week next week. We had a good up week last Thanksgiving week of 2010. And I think we might get up to the 1250 level. Maybe 1270, which might hit the 200-day moving average, and then it'll pull back again. I mean, that's pretty much what we see here, folks. If we can get any settlement out here with the super committee over the deficit and anything with the EU, anything that's positive, then we will hit our range of 1300 to 1325. But as long as we keep getting the beat down in the market, we're going to see an up move here to 1250, 1270, and then a pullback. If we break this high right here, which was I think 1273, 1274, we could go higher. But if we can't break this high here that was set in the beginning of November, we're going to be going lower before the end of the year. All right, so let's check out our market leaders. We're going to start out with IBM. IBM actually had some decent action over the last week, even though it was down the last 3 days. It actually held its pricing pretty good, probably propping up the Dow a little bit. One of the things that we were looking at here was a target range of around 177 to 178, and it looks like it's coming out of this supply resistance area here. It might actually hit this target area that we set up a couple of weeks ago. You could see that it's actually dropping out on down volume here. So we could see this hit actually over the next couple of weeks. I think what's going to happen next week is that IBM will stay in the support resistance area here throughout next week, and will get propped up with the market and then actually come down before it goes higher. So let's look at Chevron. Well, Chevron actually not only hit our target, but pierced right through it. Came right out of this supply resistance area very hard. But one of the things that were a little disturbing here is we had 5 straight down days. But not only that too, but look at these large candlesticks in the last 4 days. And all of it was above average volume to the downside. That's telling me, and I just set this up today, that our next target here is going to be about the $91 to $93 range, and we could actually see that by mid-December. So we'll see if that pulls down or hurts the sector at all. McDonald's, well, we're expecting it to pull back to this demand support area here before it goes higher. But right now, we actually had some okay action this week despite the down day Wednesday and Thursday. We had a slight update today, but we're still looking for a pullback to the 91.25 area before it goes higher. Caterpillar. As expected, Caterpillar came back and tested this demand support area here. We still have this target range set up for about 102 to 103 area, and I believe that this could actually hit by mid-December. We're going to have a nice up week next week, and then we'll see what happens here in the markets. But looks like we're going to get up to about the 102, 103 area there. Apple. Well, Apple hit our target dead on here, folks. We said 375. That's where it basically closed at today. Well, where are we going from here? Well, depending on what kind of numbers we have next week with the holiday shopping season starting and some of the retail numbers that are following that, we could see Apple just bounce right out of this demand support area here, right back to the 400, 410 area. If we get some weakness following the Thanksgiving week, I think Apple will go up to about the 390 level. And then if we get some weakness out of the retail numbers that come out from Black Friday and the first holiday shopping weekend, we could retest this 355, 360 level as early as first week of December. Looking at Google, Google had some very interesting action, even though it's been down the last few days. Came up, hit this support resistance area as expected, and pulled back. Again, it was on some pretty good down volume too, and closed near the low of the day. We're actually looking for this to perhaps pull back to the 346, 347. I'm sorry, the 550. 557 range, basically to fill this gap. We had a nice W pattern here, and I think we're going to come back, retest this before it goes higher. ExxonMobil is our largest market cap stock here. Basically, just kind of meandered here in a range. Really hasn't done much since it came up from a late October swoon, and has basically been trading sideways. Really don't have a prediction here on price. I mean, we saw Chevron pull back pretty hard, about 10-15%. We expected ExxonMobil to come up and retest the supply resistance area, but it could very well come back to 70 before it goes higher. Really don't have a feel on ExxonMobil yet. Walmart had a hard pullback here. We expected the range to come down to the 520, the 5325, 5350 area before it bounces higher. Had a couple of nice up days here in a very rough market week this week, so we might actually see a retest of this the supply resistance area here before we pull back to the 5325, 5350 area. So now we look at Procter & Gamble, and Procter & Gamble's kind of really meandered in a sideways range here. Again, we had this target set up here around 61, 61.25. We still say that it's going to fade down to this demand support area here before it goes higher. And you could see that even though it was an update today, there was a lot of bearish action, and we had less than half the average volume today. And that was not encouraging here if you were looking for the upside on Procter & Gamble. We might have a little bit of an up week next week to the 50-day moving average, maybe a little bit higher, but then we're looking for that pullback to the 61, 25, 61.50 area. Looking at GE. GE has just got this negative trend going on here, folks. And with negative trend, we're looking for a pull here to the 1480, 1485 area before it goes higher. A lot of disturbing volume action here. Basically, on a couple of the big down day yesterday, there was a lot of volume. And today, even though it closed near the lows, you could see that it was kind of low volume. And if we're trying to get some real bullish pressure it's going to be tough. I think we'll get some upside action here to 16 next week before perhaps it pulls back to the 1585, 1590 area. Telephone, AT&T. Basically, we got some down action here today, and last couple of days, but actually today was encouraging because it came right off of its lows, finished in the top third of its candlestick, which was nice. Had some good green volume down there, although it was still about half of the average volume. It was still good to see this bullish pressure here coming off the lows. We'll probably see some upwards action here. But one of the nice things is that there's an analyst out there that believes that AT&T is going to raise its dividend here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, just because it's printing so much cash. They want to return some to the investors out there and the stockholders, and to hopefully prop up its price. If they do increase the dividend, I could see retesting the October high here of 29.75. If it doesn't come out with a new dividend, I think that we'll just kind of see some sideways action here between $28 and $29. Talking about sideways action, let's look at Microsoft. You know, we set up this down target here at 24.50 a few weeks ago, and you can see basically it's just been on that path. We have had 3 down days here with the stock price, and just some terrible volume here. We had a big down volume day yesterday, as most of the down stocks had yesterday. There wasn't many that were in the green the last 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday. So what we're looking for is just to retest this area here, 24.50, 24.75, before it potentially goes higher. We got some price compression going on here, so it should be interesting. Coke, well, it's coming down towards our target range here. And within our target range, we're looking at around 65.75. We might actually hit that here in the next couple of weeks. Actually, I'm sorry, probably the next couple of weeks. Well, again, we'll probably see some up action here, probably to the $68 range next week, and before we come back down to our target here, 65.50 to 65.75. Dow Jones Transportation Index, basically sideways action here, folks. Transportations are supposed to help lead the way. Quite frankly, transportations don't even know where it's going. It should be interesting to see here what happens over the next couple of weeks. We might see some up action here before it pulls back. So we'll keep an eye on that too. Thank you for attending another MajesticTrader.com's stock chart analysis. Visit our website to request one of our newsletters. Go to our website at www.majestictrader.com. In the upper right-hand corner, put in your email address and your name, and we'll send you out a copy. Once you become a member, you'll have access to complete trade performance, all stock analysis videos, archived newsletters, and midweek alerts that are trading ideas. We'll send those out to you via email. Again, thank you for attending.